Okay, like I said, I wanted to tell about my idea I had back in about 2017 of how I could dilute the amount of nicotine in cigarettes by adding an additive. I needed an additive, and I thought of how sometimes you'd buy that pot back, especially back in the day, green, leafy, and you don't get high. Well, that's what I was looking for. So I knew a lot of people that smoked the weed, and I was trying to get them to supply me with it. Well, what they don't need, the trimmings or just the leaves, um, and that would be really cool. Try it out. Hopefully, you wouldn't get any psychoactive problems, have any psychoactive problems that way. Worth a try. And sure enough, finally, it was one of the campers, um, had in a bucket, 5-gallon bucket, what appeared to be what I was looking for. It was, remember, it'd been very wet with all the flooding. Okay, this would by now would have been in 2018 by now, and so it's just wet weed down in the bottom of a bucket. So you can have this, and I grabbed some, put it in a plastic bag or a paper bag, and that woman whose floor I was to stay on, took off with that, and I was telling her what my plans were for what it looked like just green weed. It appeared to have the 7 uh, leaves, and it appeared to be serrated. Well, had to let it dry out, and just the two of us were sitting in her 1-bedroom apartment, um, and I was adding it, just a little tiny bit of it, to the smokes. I said, well, this is going to be the start of the experiment. Then I made a few, and I did the usual thing in the late afternoon. It was just go buy a beer and sit in that place in the back of the center, and see how it works. See how it worked. And what happened was I got real sick. I had to call her up, tell her to come get me. And she did, and just kind of, I guess I threw them away, the few that I'd made. And she was telling me, well, that's just looks like something like ragweed that you'd find on the side of the road. And that's not what you want. Um, and then, of course, it could have had Roundup or some other kind of pesticide sprayed on it. So, yeah, I was poisoned. I was just sick, uh, nauseated, sort of, I guess you'd say. So, she had met a friend at she would go to these weird meetings, had met somebody, um, and they were talking about some spooky stuff they were going to do and laughing, and um, about going out in the woods and putting strange things on trees, something like, I don't know, they just, but the camaraderie I felt just by having them talking, and just, I guess the stuff was working through my bloodstream, and I got better. Um, but yeah, that's what uh, my experience was. Um, okay, well, I guess that finishes it up.